Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have an exciting crochet project that you won't want to miss. We're diving into making a stylish solid color hat, complete with a cozy brim and a half double crochet stitch. The best part? This hat comes together in no time at all. So grab your yarn and your hooks and let's get started. You'll need yarn in red, white, or blue, just one skein. You'll be looking for a weight that has the marking medium, size 4 on the back, or if you're going to your local yarn shop, it would be a DK weight yarn. You will need a size H crochet hook, a tapestry needle. I like the kind that has the hook on the end, a measuring tape, a pair of sharp scissors, and a stitch marker. I like the kind that acts like a safety pin that you can open and close because you're going to want to take this on and off your stitches. If you're new to crochet, you'll want to learn all of the stitches. If you're already familiar with crochet, you can move on to the portion where we start crocheting the hat. To make a slip knot, you'll simply take one end of your yarn and turn it over the other end. Just cross them right there, and then put your thumb over the cross, reach through the loop to the tail, hold the tail, and then pull the ends, and you'll form a slip knot. It's called a slip knot because you can pull that tail end and it will tighten the knot. Then you can put in your crochet hook and tighten the knot around your crochet hook. And that will get you started. To form a chain in crochet, you'll start with your slip knot. Put the slip knot onto your hook. And then you'll hold your knot with your middle finger and thumb, and holding your yarn over your index finger, you'll yarn over, turn your hook, and slide it right through that slip knot. And that forms your first chain. Yarn over, turn the hook, pull through the loop. Second chain. Yarn over, turn the hook, pull through the loop, and that's the next chain. Now each chain stitch is this V stitch that you see right in here. That's one chain. This is your second chain. This is your third chain. So that's how you can count your chain stitches. And you can chain as many chain stitches as you need to start your project. Let's look at a chain stitch. There are 3 different ways that you can enter a chain stitch in crochet. Each one of these V's, I'm going to just slide out the crochet hook. Each one of these V's is a stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. As you're looking at this, you have the front loop right here that you can go into. There is the back loop right here. And there's a little bump on the very back here that you can crochet into. So there are 3 different ways that you can enter a crochet stitch from a chain. With a single crochet, we're going to skip the first chain and we're going to go into the second one through this back loop back here. And you'll yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, pull through a second time. And then we're going to go back into the chain to the next chain stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through again. The next one, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through again. And you can start to see your single crochets form, and your little V stitches will be on the top up here. So let's finish this row. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. Right into that next single chain, yarn over, pull through, get the tail out of the way, yarn over, pull through both. I'm going to get to this last stitch here, go in, do a yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. And now you'll see you have your single chains here, and you'll see little V's up here. Those are the next stitches that you're going to work into. So we're going to do one chain, and then you'll turn your work. And if you think about turning your work like you would turn a book, like a page in a book, that helps. So you'll turn your work. We're not going to work in that first chain. We're going to work in this next chain right here. And if you can have the front loop that you would go through, or you can have the back loop that you would go through. Or you can go under both of the V's. So in a single chain, we're going to go under both the V's, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Do that again. Under both V's, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And you'll see there's kind of a little bit of a hole right there under both those V's. So we're going into that little hole, both V's, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. That last stitch, you're going to go right in there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. Chain, turn it like a book. And that's how you form single crochet. Single crochet through the back loop means that you're working through this back loop on your V, right back here. That's what you're going into. So if we're looking at this swatch that we have right here, we're going to skip that first stitch, and then we will put the hook into the back loop, do a yarn over, pull through, a yarn over, pull through. That's one single crochet through the back loop. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. As you're looking at that V, we're working through the back loop. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. That is a single crochet through the back loop. Here I'm coming up on my last single crochet, and I'm right back here at the beginning of my round. So I'm going to take my slip marker off. This is why you want the kind like a safety pin. And then I know that this is, I'm just going to come right, I'm not coming into that exact stitch. I'm coming into this hole, that chain stitch. This is the chain stitch. This was the first stitch. I'm coming into that hole that was created, and I'm going to slip through that hole, and I'm going to slip through the stitch that I just made. And now I'm going to crochet the half double crochet. So what we do for this is we're going to go right back into the hole that we just slip stitched. This one right here. We're going to do a yarn over first into that same hole, yarn through, and then we're going to, now we have 3 loops on our hook, and then we'll yarn over and pull through all 3 of those. And that'll give us just a little taller stitch. So it's a yarn over into that hole that's right under the V. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 stitches. To get started, the first thing we're going to do is crochet the ribbing. Now this is actually crocheted in 10 stitches that go back and forth. It's a single crochet where we crochet into the back loop. So let's get started on our ribbing. All right, for this project to get started, we are going to chain 11, and this is going to form our ribbing. So once you have 11 chained, we're going to start a single crochet through the back loop. It'll always be through the back loop because that's what creates the ribbing. So this is just the ribbing on your hat. You will single crochet 10 stitches all the way across, and that's what's going to create the ribbing. Once you have 10 stitches across, you'll chain 1, turn it like a book, and then remember you're crocheting through that back loop. So you want to make sure it's always that back loop that you're doing your single crochet in. That's what's going to create the ridge that's going to give you that ribbing look. So you'll just keep crocheting 10 across, chain 1, turn, single crochet 10 until you have a band that fits around your head. Here I have a couple of rows completed, and you can already see where that ribbing is starting to take shape. That's what crocheting through the back loop creates. So you just want to keep on going, crocheting through that back loop with the single crochet. As you're working with your ribbing, every once in a while you're going to want to check to make sure that your band is the right size. So I like to give it a little bit of a stretch and come around to the front of my head. And this fits just about right how I would like to wear the hat. So this size is right for me. So I can go ahead and sew my ends together and get the band of my hat started. Just like that. Look at how crocheting into the back loop gives that rib effect. Not only can you use this technique for a hat brim, but it's also a great way to crochet the ribbing of a sleeve or the bottom of a sweater. It's just a great technique to know. Okay, so now we're going to fold our halves together and start seaming up. To start the seaming, we're going to look at the stitches that we just had, that we just finished, and we're going to pick up from these loops back here that are technically the front loop of the V-stitch. And then over here from our cast on, we are going to pick up what would be the front loop from those stitches right here. All right, to start with, I'm just going to start on that first stitch. And do a slip stitch to begin with. I want to measure up those ends and see how all those stitches start matching up to each other. Okay, and then we'll just come in, pick up those stitches, yarn one, through the two loops. Then we'll come to the next set of stitches. Just want to get through one loop there and seam this right up. Okay, and here I have my last stitches. Get those two together. And now we have the tail at the bottom, and we are ready to start crocheting right across the top. So now I want to start the single crochet first row that I have. This is the same stitch that we've been doing all along for the ribbing. We're just coming across this edge and picking up. So if I look at the edge, I can see my seam right here. And then in each of these areas between the ribs, there are two good holes where I can push, where I can pick up stitches. So I'm going to use those spots. I'm just going to add a chain here before I get started, and then I'm going to go ahead and go right into this first spot, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two. Now if I wanted to, this is my chain, I can add my stitch marker here. And what that will do is it will help me remember that that is where I need to do a slip stitch to join the round when I come back over. So marking that is very helpful. Okay, so now we want to find our next spot. Go in here, yarn over, pull through both loops. And here, yarn over, pull through both loops. Now, in between these next ribs, I have these two holes. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that all the way around. And what this is doing is it's creating a round. It's creating the first round of the actual hat. And these little V's up here will become my stitches as I start working my single crochet or my half double crochet for the rest of the hat. So go ahead and do your single crochet and get this round in place, and I will meet you back at the beginning. Here I'm coming up on my last single crochet, and I'm right back here at the beginning of my round. So I'm going to take my slip marker off. This is why you want the kind like a safety pin. And then I know that this is, I'm just going to come right, I'm not coming into that exact stitch. I'm coming into this hole, that chain stitch. This is the chain stitch. This was the first stitch. I'm coming into that hole that was created, and I'm going to slip through that hole, and I'm going to slip through the stitch that I just made. Now for the half double crochet, I will need 2 chain stitches So I have 2 there, and I can go ahead and mark, just take my hook out, and I can mark this stitch for when I come back around to connect that next round again. From this point forward, we are going to be turning our work, not joining in the round. That was the only one that will join in the round that way. So now we need to flip our work like a book, and we are going to do a half double crochet. We're going to go right back into that same spot where we just slipped that 1 stitch. So I'm going to go yarn over into that spot, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. We're going to do that all the way around under each, the slip marker's in the way, under each one of these stitches. Now, something that we want to be careful of is the amount of stitches that you have. Everybody's going to have a different amount of stitches all the way around. It just depends how many you picked up. You want to make sure that as you're going, you're always doing the same amount of stitches, and that as you come up to your stitch marker, you're actually at that last stitch and then joining in the round. You don't want to add stitches or miss stitches. So just keep an eye out and count your stitches as you go around, and that will help you a great deal in keeping your hat going up tall and evenly as you go along. Let's get our hook back in here. Okay, yarn over through our next stitch, pull yarn through, pull yarn through all 3 loops, yarn over, pull yarn through, yarn over, through all 3 stitches. And we're just going to do that all the way around our hat until we get back to the beginning of the round. And we want to do this for a height of about 7 to 8 inches depending on your head size. So I'll show you how I try on my hat as I go along, and you can try yours on as you go along and kind of get a feel for when you've got the right height. Okay, I'll meet you back up when we come back to the stitch marker. Okay, so I am coming up to my last stitch here. Do my yarn over, go through all 3 loops, and I have my stitch marker marking the beginning of that round. So that's nice and handy. I'm going to take that, get it out of the way. And I'm simply going to look for the hole that those 2 chain stitches made, because I want to slip stitch through both of those, and that will slip stitch that round together. Now I'm going to do 2 more chain stitches, grab that stitch marker, put it back in place, turn my project like a book, and go ahead and do half double crochet for the next round. Now let me show you how I try on my hat so that you can see how yours should fit. What I'm referring to when I'm talking about measuring your hat is you take your measuring tape and just go to the top of your head, because I know my hat, I want my hat to be there, and I want my hat to be, you know, right down here under my ear. So if I measure that, I get about 9.5 inches. So with anything that's stretchy, you want to subtract a little bit of difference. So, so my initial guesstimate was about 7.5 inches, because I know that when I make my hat, it's going to have some stretch to it. So when I put this on, it fits right exactly where I want it to fit. It fits right up against the top of my head. So you can put your crochet on and you can get kind of a measurement or an idea of where your hat is. Let me pull up this one that I'm working on right now. So if you keep trying on your crochet and you just slip it right on, you'll know when you're getting to the right spot on your head. And when you can kind of feel like you can pinch it and there's enough space that you've got your little ears sticking out, that's about where you stop. And then we'll come back here and we will finish up and do a seam on the top. So go ahead and go around, do the half double crochets. When you get to the one round to the other, you're going to do the slip stitch, chain 2, and then start your next round. And I'll meet you back here when you've got your hat right to the top of your head and you're ready to do your seam. Here I am at my very last row, my final slip stitch. I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch these together. And I want to use this, try that again. There we go. Now I want to use this working thread to go ahead and sew up the rest of my hat. But I believe I want my seam to go on the inside of my hat. So I'm just going to loosen this, and you can see I had to add a little extra yarn. That happens sometimes. Just as long as your knots are on the inside, you're fine. So let me find here is my, where I wove in my ends. And I am going to line up my stitches here so that I can do the same thing that we did when we seamed up the brim. You want to match up these stitches right along the way here. I'm here on the inside. My stitches look like they're going to line up nicely, and I'm just going to go ahead and take that first stitch second stitch, and the yarn kind of ends up in a weird spot. It's okay. It's the inside of your hat. You're just seaming. So we'll do a single crochet, and then we'll pick up the next 2 stitches. Get that through. The next 2 stitches, and you'll continue to do this all the way down the full way for your hat. Now you can see I'm just coming around to those last final stitches. And if yours doesn't end up exactly even, that's fine. You can just kind of finagle the last of your stitches here. Mine look like they're maybe not coming up exactly even, so I'll just grab that one. And there we go. Okay, so now to finish that off, you'll go ahead and cut that from the skein of yarn and then pull the tail through that stitch. And I'm working on the inside of my hat right now, so I can go ahead and thread my tapestry needle and just went right into that seam and weaved in those ends. Give that a nice little pull. Okay, let's trim that. And I always like to, at the very ends, just kind of fluff those up a little bit. I've got my other end woven in already, so when I get all your ends woven in, and then go ahead and turn your hat the right side around. All right, and just like that, we have knitted a solid color patriotic hat. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your comments below. Happy crocheting, everyone. See you next time.